The most famous weapon in comic book history is defined by a single property, since it absorbs vibration. Captain America's shield defies the laws of physics because it is made of vibranium, the rarest metal on Earth. We should consider if it was forged from something else entirely, like the dying heart of a star instead of Wakandan mines. Changing this one material wouldn't just alter the shield's color, because it would completely rewrite how Captain America fights, how he survives, and whether he could have defeated Thanos.
To understand the change, we first have to look at why vibranium is used in the first place. This metal isn't just strong, since it is scientifically bizarre. When Thor strikes the shield with his hammer, Steve Rogers doesn't turn into a puddle of goo, because the metal absorbs the kinetic energy instantly and steals the momentum from the attack. This property also allows the shield to bounce. When Cap throws it, the shield doesn't lose energy when it hits a wall, but retains that energy, so it can ricochet and return to his hand. It is a defensive tool that defies inertia and makes it perfect for a super soldier who relies on agility. Uru is not a metal you find in the ground, but a material you forge in the heat of a dying star. This is the signature ore of Nidavellir, the world of the dwarves, and the primary component of Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. Unlike vibranium, which is defined by science and physics, Uru is defined by magic. It is stone-like in appearance, incredibly rough, and serves as a sponge for magical enchantments. While vibranium is light enough for a human to carry effortlessly, Uru is incredibly dense. A shield made of pure Uru would weigh significantly more and turn a defensive disc into a heavy, blunt instrument of destruction. The immediate consequence of this switch is the weight. Vibranium is lighter than steel, which allows Steve Rogers to sprint, jump, and throw it with sniper-like precision. An Uru shield would be a heavy slab of cosmic ore. Even with the super soldier serum, Cap's fighting style would have to change drastically, and the acrobatics would disappear. He could no longer flip off walls while holding it, or throw it with a flick of his wrist. Instead, he would fight more like a tank. Every strike would be slower, but devastatingly powerful. If he hit a generic Hydra soldier with a vibranium shield, they get knocked out. If he hit them with an Uru shield, the sheer mass and density would likely be lethal, instantly. The most iconic move in Captain America's arsenal is the shield toss, where it bounces off 3 bad guys and returns to his hand. That creates a huge problem with Uru. Since Uru does not possess the kinetic absorption properties of vibranium, it would not bounce. If Cap threw an Uru shield at a concrete wall, it wouldn't ricochet, but would smash right through the wall and keep going. The disc would function less like a frisbee and more like a cannonball. Once he throws it, it's not coming back on its own. He would have to walk over and pick it up every single time, which leaves him defenseless after the first attack. We actually pulled this topic from a comment left by a viewer named Cosmic Forge on our last video, so a huge thank you to them. If you have your own scenario you want us to research, drop it in the comments below, because we read every single one. If you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. While he loses the bounce, he gains something far more valuable in the form of invulnerability. In Avengers Endgame, we watched in horror as Thanos' double-bladed sword chipped away at the vibranium shield until it was broken in half. That blade was likely made of Uru or a similar cosmic metal. If Cap's shield had also been made of Uru, that scene plays out very differently. When Uru clashes with Uru, they are evenly matched. Thanos might have been able to knock Cap back, but he could not have cut the shield. It would have held its shape and potentially saved the Avengers from that moment of desperation where their leader was left with a broken weapon. There is a massive downside to this hardness, however. Vibranium protects the user by stopping energy transfer. When the Hulk punches the vibranium shield, the metal kills the momentum, and Cap's arm stays intact. Uru is just incredibly hard metal that does not dissipate energy, but transfers it. If the Hulk punched an Uru shield strapped to Steve Rogers' arm, the shield would survive fine, but the shockwave would travel straight through the metal and shatter the bones in Steve's arm. Without the magic of absorption, The shield becomes a block against heavy hitters. He would block the attack, but his body would take the full force of the impact. The physical trade-offs sound bad, but we are ignoring Uru's main feature since it enchants perfectly. An unenchanted Uru shield is just a heavy plate, but an enchanted one is a weapon of mass destruction. Odin could place a charm on it to make it return to Cap's hand automatically and solve the throwing problem instantly. Better yet, the shield could be imbued with elemental attacks. Imagine Cap slamming the edge of the shield into the ground and summoning a lightning bolt, or the shield glowing with blue fire when it strikes an enemy. This transforms Captain America from a super soldier into a battle-mage. This isn't just a theory, because it actually happened in the 2011 comic event Fear itself. In this storyline, the Serpent, who is the god of fear, shattered Captain America's original vibranium shield with his bare hands. To fix it, Tony Stark brought the pieces to the dwarves of Nidavellir. They didn't just glue it back together, but infused the broken vibranium with molten Uru. The result was a shield that looked the same, but carried the magical properties of Asgardian metal. It left a jagged scar on the front as a permanent reminder that even the unbreakable can be broken, though later artists often forgot to draw it. If the shield is made of Uru and forged by dwarves, we must ask if it comes with a worthiness enchantment. This adds a fascinating layer of security. Currently, anyone can pick up Cap's shield, since the Winter Soldier used it, Red Skull held it, and Spider-Man stole it. But if an Uru shield had the same enchantment as Mjolnir, it becomes the ultimate secure weapon. If Cap drops it in battle, Red Skull couldn't turn it against him. The shield would simply sit on the ground as an immovable object to everyone except Steve Rogers, locking the weapon to the user's morality. The combination of an Uru shield and Thor's hammer creates a feedback loop of power. In the MCU, we saw Thor hit the vibranium shield to create a shockwave, but with Uru, they could do far more. Thor could channel lightning directly into the shield, and instead of just deflecting it, the shield would store that energy. Cap could then release it in a focused beam hours later. The two weapons would essentially speak the same magical language. We might even see a uni-beam-style attack, where Thor charges the shield to full capacity, and Cap releases it all at once to level a city block. The reason they didn't do this comes down to logistics. Howard Stark made the original shield in the 1940s, using the only material he had access to. Getting Uru requires a spaceship, a relationship with the King of Dwarves, and a star capable of melting the ore. Even in the modern MCU, Uru is incredibly scarce. Tony Stark only managed to get Uru upgrades during a catastrophic global crisis. For the US government to mass-produce or even prototype an Uru shield is impossible, since it is a material that requires cosmic connections rather than a government contract. There is one specific villain who would love this change, and that is Magneto. While Magneto has shown some ability to affect vibranium in the comics, it is inconsistent and difficult for him because iron and steel are his playground. Uru is metallic, but its magical nature often gives it resistance to magnetic manipulation, though it is not immune. If the shield is pure metal without a specific anti-magnetic enchantment, Magneto could potentially crush Cap inside his own defense, or simply fling the heavy shield into deep space. Vibranium's unique, non-ferrous properties often give it a pass here, but Uru might not be so lucky. The best solution isn't replacing vibranium, but combining it. This is essentially what happened in Fear itself, and what fans call proto-adamantium in other contexts. If you mix the kinetic absorption of vibranium with the durability and magical capacity of Uru, you remove the weaknesses of both. The shield would be light enough to throw and bounce because of the vibranium, but it would be unbreakable by Thanos and capable of summoning lightning. This hybrid alloy represents the peak of Marvel weaponry as a perfect marriage of Earth's rarest science and Asgard's greatest magic. Finally, we have to consider the symbol. The bright red, white, and blue paint sits perfectly on smooth vibranium, but Uru is dark, speckled, and looks like ancient stone.
painting over Uru feels wrong because it is like painting over a diamond. An Uru shield would likely remain unpainted as a dark gray, jagged disc glowing with faint runes. It would change Captain America from a symbol of patriotic hope into a warrior of myth. It looks less like a superhero's tool and more like a weapon of war, which might fundamentally change how the public sees Steve Rogers. Replacing Vibranium with Uru trades defense for raw power. Captain America would lose his agility and his signature shield throw, but he would gain a weapon that could shatter armies and withstand the universe's greatest threats. In the end, the Vibranium shield represents the man, as adaptable, protective, and human. An Uru shield represents a god, since it is unbreakable, heavy, and distant. Steve Rogers probably made the right choice keeping the one he has. If you want to see us break down what would happen if Iron Man built his suit out of Vibranium, hit that subscribe button and let us know.